I've always wanted to do a show with drag artists who have different styles, backgrounds, and views. A show where they can tell their story their way. And in a perfect world, I join in on the conversation. This is that show. We call it Exposed. Hey everybody, my name is Joseph Shepard and welcome to Expose. It is the show where we chat with all of your favorite queens. And today we have the absolute honor and privilege of chatting with the Ballroom queen herself. You were introduced to her on season 3 of RuPaul's Drag Race and she had that beat to die for. She came back on AllStars 5. And let me just tell you, her sitting here right now, she does have a mug for days. It's Mariah Balenciaga.
Hey, Joseph, what's happening, baby?
Nothing much.
Oh my gosh, it's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming. We've been trying to do this for a while, but we finally got it. And I have to tell you, I was researching and I went back in time and I was reading an interview that you did right outside of, I believe it was season 3.
Uh-oh.
And they were like talking to you and they basically were like, you know, what do you have going on? And you were like, I'm about to start performing at Einstein's in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work at Einstein's in Atlanta.
Shut up.
Right next to Joe's and Juniper. And I worked at Joe's and Juniper before I worked at Einstein's. And now it's just condo buildings, right?
Yeah, I think it's, they pretty much, at this point, I think have leveled it and they're starting the building process. Atlanta has just become one big old condo place.
It sure is.
People to spend the night in between work shifts.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to party. Except for there's one spot called Future. It reminds me of Tracks.
Okay.
You remember Tracks?
Yes.
306 Lucky Street. It gives you that type of vibe, but lives up to its name like Future. It really looks like an elevated version of that.
And where is that now?
Downtown Underground.
Okay.
It's amazing. So I do miss my friends in Atlanta and my family. So, you know, my friends are my family.
So let's get into
let's
your
dive.
life. Let's dive right in now.
Oh, gosh.
So you were born in Gainesville, Georgia.
Yes.
And you moved to Atlanta at 19.
Yep.
See, I did my research.
Oh, you did.
So what was it like in Gainesville? Was that more suburbs, more country? Like, what was it?
There was this, Gainesville, Georgia is in Hall County, which is a very agricultural county. They have soybean processing plants, chicken processing plants, chicken farms. I think, was it Pedigree? It had like dog food processing plants. It was that kind of town. So, or small city. It was a world away. I guess the easiest way to compare it is like LA to Riverside.
Okay.
Very that.
So you're growing up. What were you like as a child?
I talked too much. I used to get written up in class a lot. I was fighting. I fought a lot. You know, some people handle things differently. You know, they run, hide, become reclusive. Me, I just fought my way all the way through school. So 5th grade all the way to 12th grade.
Your little problem?
Oh, no. It was like me defending myself.
Oh, defending yourself.
It was constant. Like I would have to fight my way out of bathrooms. Like, yeah. Even up to, since we're doing Exposed, my senior year, it was like 2 weeks before my 18th birthday, my senior year, I got kicked out of school for assault and battery. Because a dude like came up on me and then I was defending myself and I got the upper hand. And so, but they pressed charges on me. And that's like right when that zero policy started happening. Yeah. 99.
Wow.
But I got my high school diploma on time the same day everybody else did, even though I wasn't able to go to the graduation.
So you didn't even walk down the aisle?
Nope. But you got to do what you got to do, babe.
And I mean, at the end of the day, what was a graduation?
I really wasn't going to buy all those damn tickets to have, you know, because it's just another money-making machine.
It's just another, yes. And then your parents always want to make it like the biggest deal ever. I was like, no.
And now I'm in a career where I don't even need, well, it's good to have a high school diploma because it's education. But I'm like, girl, I'm wearing a lipstick and tucking my stuff. Stay in school, kids.
What was your coming out experience like? Because you're saying that you were, you know, in school and being bullied and stuff, and you had to take things kind of into your own hands. When did you come out?
It was more like a casual conversation, like it, and it just never I was always an effeminate kid. Not necessarily a lady, but just more effeminate. And one day I came home and had a hickey, and my mom was just like, because we were always so communicative about things and open. And she was like, oh, well, where'd you get that from? And it's like, what's the girl's name? You know, what's her name? And I think my mom was just trying to get me to pry it out of me. And then so my mom got mad that I wouldn't open up. And then my little brother turned and looked at me. He was like, why don't you just tell the girl's names? Now she's mad. And I was like, because it wasn't a girl. He looked up from the couch and was just like, shut up. You don't even sound gay. Oh, okay. And then that was it. Wow. That was it. And well, when I was in 4th grade, I believe, my mom told me this later on in life as an adult. But my sister was like, Mom, called me by my boy name, was like, is in my jewelry again and my makeup. I think he's going to be gay. My mom was like, we're just going to let him be him. And that was it.
That's good.
So I really didn't have that sense of being different or unwanted until I would like leave my household. My family kind of looks like the United Colors of Benetton. So like my older brother is blonde hair, blue eyed. My younger brother is green eyes, a little bit lighter than me. And my sister is just gorgeous. And we're just all over the place. So inside the household, we didn't have those boundaries or those rules that people try to staple on you.
But that's great.
Yeah. So
I mean, not great for the school experience. But
but at least I had, you know, some kind of like oasis, you know, and home should always be that for people.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And you left home at 19?
I left home at, I think it was because I moved off of Jimmy Carter Boulevard in Atlanta with my 2 high school girlfriends. And then from there, I just always lived in Atlanta for 14 years and then moved directly out to LA.
So when you're in Atlanta, let's get into the ball scene in Atlanta. How did you even stumble into this?
So back in my day, you know, people would hand out paper flyers to their events at the club. And so I was out with like my play brother at the time. He was like my big brother in the Big Brother program. And he happened to be gay, but he promised my mom, he was like, I'll guide him around and take care of him and stuff. And so he would take me to the clubs and look after me. And then I stumbled across a flyer for the Escada Awards Ball in 2000. And I was like, what is this? And he was like, do you want to go? We can check it out. And then that was my first ball. And I was hooked. And I think like maybe 2 weeks later, I was recruited at this club called Palace downtown in Atlanta by this guy I actually saw at Trax and thought he was cute, but then he ended up recruiting. He wanted me to be in drag. I was like, oh, okay. So
did you perform in a category? Did you have?
I walked, you know, in ballroom scene, the femme queens or transsexual, what mainstream would know as transsexuals, male to female transsexuals. And then we have like trans men. And then we have butch queens, which is like a gay guy. And then butch queen in drags, which is what I represent and I walk. Butch queen in drag's face.
What was that like? Do you ever miss it?
And I still dabble in it. I opened a chapter, me and my brother Dabrian opened a chapter of Balenciaga in the West Coast. So now I'm in more of like a mentorship role. Well, I've always kind of been in a mentorship role when it came to the House of Balenciaga. But yeah, that's where my concentration is now, like making sure that I have like solid roots and making sure my legacy sticks around a little bit longer than me.
It's incredible to think about that you were you one of the first or were you the first ballroom queen on Drag Race?
Yes. Yeah.
What's the process? How did you learn?
I was fortunate enough to have amazing mentors. My drag mother, who no longer does drag, Keetrick Starks, he's a celebrity makeup artist. He actually does Jill Scott's makeup. Yeah. He's very talented. And my drag grandmother, Alicia Paris, they taught me the fundamentals of how to lay down the groundwork. And they always said, like, once you learn your face, nobody will be able to paint you like you. And it's true. They taught me the foundation and was just like, girl, we're not going to keep flying everywhere with you to paint you for a ball, bitch. It's like, you better learn. And I surely did. But it was a step-by-step process.
Yeah.
It's like I had to get good at my foundation. Then I got good at my eye beat. And then, my eyebrows is a whole different process. But everything kind of like turned up on its head after Drag Race because I didn't think I was drag enough. And so I started experimenting with like monster drag makeup. And thank goodness people respect me enough not to post those pictures.
Well, no, I'm kidding.
Expose. Y'all keep those for your personal collection.
For the personal collection. Yeah. So when it comes down to like what a typical night was in Atlanta, you were going to go to a ball tonight. I want to like know what your process was like.
Oh, that's delicious. Okay. So we would probably I would go CVS, grab my nair because I would have to lock in. It would be like a 3-4 hour process where I would have like wine. Friends would come over. I would nair and, do a little bit on my face, step away from it, come back, shoot the shit with the girls. And because I had to lock into like the Mariah character because I was doing balls like maybe once every 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
So it was just like not like working every night. So it's more of a process. And then we would get to the ball probably about like 1 o'clock. We'd leave there about 6:37 in the morning. And then I would be like, because I was always the youngest of the group. So I was like, oh my gosh. I was just like, yes, we're about to go. My feet hurt. I'm hungry. They're like, all right. And then Jack Mizrahi, he would be on the mic and he would be like, all right, bitches, I'll see you at back streets. And then I was like, what? And everybody like, girl, come on. And I was like, y'all can just leave me in the car. They would crack the window, leave me with a bowl of water. And I would wake up at 12 in like afternoon. And they were like, I'm like, good. Finally, we can go home. They were like, oh, let's go to Waffle House, bitch. I was like, oh my God, it never ends. Then we go home, sleep, wake up, and then go to the next bar. It would be a ball is not just a night. It's like a whole weekend.
It's a whole experience.
It's a whole experience.
I want to know from you. So you're doing the ball scene and RuPaul's Drag Race more so in the drag scene. What made you want to audition or did you audition?
I did audition. I wanted to audition for season 2, but I was like focused on getting my mom situated and taken care of. And I knew I wouldn't be able to focus on both of those. So I waited till season 3 and I had a very strong sense that I would get on the first time auditioning because I knew nobody else had my background. I know all the players in Ballroom, so I knew, and especially with a lot of Rue's catchphrases and her referencing Paris is Burning, I knew that she would immediately like click with that, and so I really didn't have a doubt that I was going to get it. And so I was like, girl, but I think everybody should feel that way about themselves.
Yeah.
So, and then when I got the call, I kind of like,
where were you?
I was like, I was with one of my friends, 2 of my friends, Shannon Balenciaga, who was on Legendary season 2, and then my friend Shane Tomlinson, who passed in Pulse. They were both with me, and I was just like, girl, hold on real quick. I'm supposed to be by myself. And so we were at some restaurant in Atlanta, and I was like, oh my gosh, are you so serious? I was like having to act surprised, but I was like, okay, let's get this process started. But I had already started getting stuff made the minute I turned my tape in.
I want to read a quote that you had.
Exposed.
It was after your time on season 3, and an interviewer asked you, did you learn anything from the other drag performers on the show? And you responded, you know what? I really didn't. I've always hung around older people, and the drag community was not much different from my regular life. And I've gravitated towards people who are polished. Do you still stand by that from your...
absolutely. The people from my upbringing, the people that I studied were Raquel Lord, Stasha Sanchez, Jasmine Bonet, Nicole Love Dupree, Naisha Dupree, like pretty much the cast of in Atlanta at the track show, and there was no comparison.
Yeah.
There really wasn't. And so it was like everything that I had learned before I had gotten there had gotten me ready for that point. I don't think there was anybody I could really take notes from when it came to like pulling myself together. Now, I have since gained a respect for some of the other girls' skill sets and talents, but at that moment in time, no.
I was laughing so hard when I read that. Literally, I was like, I thought you were going to give a pageant answer. And I was like, no.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I do have to give a shout out because it's the longest running show in Atlanta, and it's the Stars of the Century.
Give the shout out to your camera.
Oh, shout out to Stars of the Century. If y'all are in Atlanta and y'all want to see some fabulous drag, sickening drag, it can't be touched. So check them out. They're at the Heretic every Monday.
Oh, Miss
Yeah.
So many places.
Oh, looping back around, that was where my first performance was.
Wait,
was
really?
At the Heretic. It was for a closet ball pageant.
Okay.
And ironically enough, Nicole Page Brooks won.
Stop.
Yes, that was my first pageant. You had to come out, do a performance, have gown, and then I think there was something else that we had to do. And it was cute. My sister went with me and my drag grandmother was with me. And it was a good time. Then we went to tracks afterwards.
You get off of RuPaul's Drag Race. In the episode, something controversial happened. And it's been talked about quite a bit on the Reddit forums.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Your lipstick mirror message was erased.
It was. Yeah.
Why do you think that was? Because you said congratulations, Raja, right?
Mm-hmm. I actually said congratulations, Raja, on the runway. As soon as I turned around, I was walking away and looked at her and was like, congratulations, Raja. Everybody was gagged. But of course, they cut the audio. And then I was just like, y'all like to play games? Let's play games.
So you meant it as she was going to win.
Yeah.
You saw it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people saw it.
Uh-huh. It's the production as well. It's the production. And so I didn't come from that. So I didn't really get it at the time. And if you'll note it, that's how Mug for Days caught on. Everybody was like, Mug, what else did she write? Because if you remember, I never really said Mug for Days throughout the show, but that became infamous.
Another thing that happened after Drag Race was you were on Drag U.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember those days?
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Just from Drag U Season 2 and Drag U Season 3, just the accommodations for the professors had changed so much.
How did the food change? Did the food change at all?
Oh, drastically. See, when we were... During Season 3, we would come back into the workroom after doing interviews or something, and there would just be room temperature El Pollo Loco styrofoam trays on the workroom table, and it's just okay, there you go, figure it out. And now we actually have catering services. I would go in there and I'm like, I know I smell salmon somewhere and it's not in these fucking styrofoam trays. Where is the food? And I even get triggered anytime somebody's like, oh, do y'all want to order El Pollo Loco? No, not at all.
That's pretty funny because I think every single girl from Season 2 or 3 has said that they had the El Pollo Loco curse. It was just El Pollo Loco out the ass.
I don't get it. I don't know who on the production staff was what these girls are really going to like? Room temperature chicken and beans. That's going to really get them going. They're going to give us the great television we need to make this last for 20 seasons. But the good thing was we had real bottles of Absolute on set.
That's what, when I had Raja here a couple of weeks ago, she said that it was a whole thing where sometimes you guys would steal bottles of Absolute from the Interior Illusion.
Yeah.
You got caught?
Okay, so we were just because production's oh, okay, yeah, we'll get you some more drinks. Just keep filming. Then, an hour later, 2 hours later, we still don't have a refresh. So it was just girl, hold on. That's a real bottle of vodka. So the other girls, the notorious fight during Season 3, the other girls thought they was going to be able to drink like I drank.
Mm-hmm.
I can drink mine straight.
Mm-hmm.
The other girls got a little loopy. And so, they were just so from that point, the alcohol consumption was limited. But we were stick it in the couches and
Uh-huh.
like sticking it under the couches. And then one day they went into into one of the lounges to rearrange for like one of the challenges.
Uh-huh.
And girl, they found all the bottles we were like tucking away. And we were like,
Stop.
fuck. We went in there, and when they were like, taking us to the challenge, and then we went in there and we saw everything moved, we were like, oh, Miss Thing, they clocked our
figured
bottles.
it out.
Yeah. So from then on out, it was just like water in I know it's so much tease, but sorry, girls that came after us.
In another interview, a quote you gave was, drag is for everyone, but the stage and runway might not be.
Are not, yeah. And I stand by that. I love, because so many people, like, I guess you can call them novice or the pedestrians that love to, step their toe in and out and stuff like that. It's great. Express yourself. Drag is an extension of who we are on the inside, and it manifests in the physical plane, what we feel in our psyche and our emotional plane. But I think that because it's so mainstream now, it's so accessible, and people think that they have the understanding or the educational background because they watch Drag Race of everything that it takes to create a persona and to have the confidence and then like mold yourself into this fully realized performer. And it's ever evolving, but people just casually come in and think they can do it or critique what you do. And it's for their consumption. And once you put things out there, they have every right to do it. But yes, some places are sacred, and the stage and the ballroom floor is two of those sacred spaces.
Well, speaking of the ballroom floor, there's been a lot of discussion recently revolving around people who are duck walking or people that are voguing or doing any type of ballroom on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yes.
Who may not be from the ballroom community. Do you have a thought on that?
Yeah, I do. To put it in perspective, ballroom has been a culture and a people where it was their safe space for brown and black people to go express their creativity and live out fantasies in a world that would deny them their reality. And so it's very precious, and it's our church, it's our family, it's our community. And a lot of people, from designers to choreographers to celebrities, have come in, taken ideas, inspiration from these creative people who were given nothing or took nothing and made something absolutely fabulous and distinctively theirs. They take it to mainstream and all of a sudden want to repackage it with a white face or a lighter face and call it fashion. Now it's fashion. You were calling us ghetto and hood rats. So it's like, so now when people are taking lingo, taking ideas, taking fashion, taking dance moves, and not giving it the respect or giving ballroom the credit that's due, it's a slap in the face. Let's take duck walking or voguing or a dip.
Yeah.
For instance, that's the most, I guess, the common push button. A dip. They call it on the show, and the young kids have taken it and ran with it, a shablam or a death drop. No, it's called a dip. You don't go to a ballerina and tell her like, oh, do that pointy toe thing. I'm doing that pointy toe thing, and just give it your own name. They have their own technical terms for their dance. And those terms are always used when the queens who are trained in ballet,
yes,
they come on the show and use those techniques. They're properly referred to by their dance proper term, right? Why is ballroom not given that same respect?
You explain that very, very well.
So when the ballroom people reach out to you on these social media platforms that you have, and they correct you in the terminology, don't ignore them and then have a whole little mini category for the children of Vogue, and then not even have a guest judge or a guest from ballroom community there on the panel. It sometimes for the community, I can tell you firsthand, it does feel like a slap in the face.
Yeah. Well, especially because it's something that is, like you said, so sacred. It's something that, has a lot of history behind it. And yeah, that challenge to me, I was like, what are we doing? It's
like, it would have been amazing to have like Deshawn, Jamal Milan, or Laomi come in for that little mini challenge, even if it was just for that.
Yeah.
And like, just speak about the importance of technique and just give a little bit for that category, just so that people, the Drag Race audience, can have a little bit more understanding and respect for it.
Yeah. I think that's probably like the most important thing. I think that, like you can have some of the girls who do these moves or do things, but it's all tying it back. It's all giving the respect and the knowledge and the love and just showing it the respect. Because at the end of the day, history needs to be remembered for the history that it is, not the history that you make it.
Yeah. And it's too many people that are always rewriting or taking control of our history and making it theirs. Or packaging it as if it's their idea. But that happens in a lot of industries. So you just have to keep addressing it.
I'm glad you did address it. And you said it so well.
Oh, thanks.
Did you, when it came down to AllStars 5, how did you hear about that? Where did the phone call come from? Was it something that had been like worked on?
I was on the standby list for season 1, and then they ended up having to shift gears, and a couple of us got cut. I was on standby list for season 2 and season 3. I didn't get called at all for season 4. And then I got a call for season 5, and I was like, I love you. But I was just like, if it's not a guarantee, I just can't, because you go into an immediate, I guess I call it battle mode. You go into like dieting and getting things made just so you're not having to do it all at once. And then to get a phone call like, oh no, we switched directions. It's like, it's such a gut-wrenching feeling. So I was like, if I'm not going to be like guaranteed a spot, I'm like, I'm cool. And so he was like, yeah, we got you this time. You're on. I was like, okay, let's do it.
And you were on the season that you couldn't do your promos, right? Because COVID had just happened.
Oh, years on Twisted.
I just remember I was so sad by that.
I was like so looking forward to getting more Delta miles and travel and getting the whole experience of it that in season 3 I didn't have, because it was like we did in-house, and I was fortunate to work with Matthew Anderson for our promos, so that was awesome. But it was just like I was just kind of looking forward to some of those new perks of it's a whole new season, it's a whole new world for Drag Race. And I was stuck in the bedroom doing my Entertainment Weekly photo shoot in front of a white cardboard cutout on a cell phone. So that was pretty much my press. Yeah. But what can you do? It wasn't, nobody foresaw the circumstances. So
yeah. But like that's one of the things that happened to those seasons. What was it? 12 or
was with because Jada Essence Hall was the winner of the season, and they had to do their final battle in the living rooms but I will have to say those bitches were creative as fuck. Like what they did with what they had was amazing.
It was great. Each one gave like a crazy iconic performance. Crystal Method feeding little babies with her bird babies with her mouth, and
it was priceless. I must say they got me through. That was a good moment. That was entertainment.
It's time for some fan questions.
Ooh.
First question I have for you is, your confidence, I believe, is one of your biggest strengths. What are tips of yours to hold yourself up high, and how can someone be that confident?
I'm able to be that way because I don't compare myself to other people. I don't compare myself to their accomplishments. I don't compare myself to where I thought I should be at this stage of life when I was younger. And it's just like knowing and looking back at everything that I have accomplished and knowing that nobody else has done it quite like me.
And you do exude a lot of confidence.
Well, thank you. It's taken a lifetime to keep it up.
Well, I'm going to have to take multiple notes from you. Because What was it like being in the Ali and AJ music video Star Maps?
Who? What? I'm sorry. Oh, you know what? I don't think I ever saw the finished product. I don't think I even got paid for that.
Well, we're going to forget that question.
I'm going to have to go look that up now. I was like, hold on. I don't think I ever got paid for that. This thing? I did take all their Funyuns, though. That's probably why I didn't get paid.
I had another All-Stars 5 sister on, and I asked a question. So, season 3, there was a feeling that Raja was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Season 5 of All-Stars. Shea Coulee. Did you feel that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. I put it like this. You have to look at it from a business standpoint and a production standpoint and not get in your feelings too much. Because no advertiser in their right mind is just going to hand over their advertising dollars to a show, any show, and be like, oh, okay, let's just see what happens. There has to be some kind of trajectory. And so that's the viewpoint I look at it.
Next fan question that I have for you is, you performed during Jennifer Lopez's 2022 iHeartRadio Music Awards performance. Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember that. That was an unforgettable experience. I loved going through that experience with all the ladies from different seasons. And J-Lo picked us all because, there was a little backlash that, some of the folks weren't Puerto Rican. But that's not like she chose us for specific looks that fit with her garments that she wanted us to wear and where it fit into the performance. And she picked us all herself. So it was like, felt kind of good. It was like a nice little ooh moment.
Do you, when it comes down to celebrities, do you do a lot of work with celebrities, or do you feel like, do you get reached out to a lot? Because I know that girls have very different perspectives on it. Yeah. Some people don't want to be used just for being used as a drag queen. Some people see it different ways. How do you see it?
If you're going to bring me in and there's like a budget that works for my presence, I'm down. Like, we're a taste and a flavor. And why shouldn't I monetize myself finally and get a piece of the pie? I've never been an overly fanatical person of celebrities. I was a celebrity hairstylist before I got on Drag Race, and it's cool. You like working with people that you admire their work and love listening to their music or watch their movies. And then you're like, oh, wow, it's kind of a little surreal moment working with them. But then you just keep it moving. It's like, oh, that was a cool experience. And so when people bring me in for a paid gig, I'm just like, oh, that's a cool experience. And my checking account is better.
Yeah.
So cool.
What has been your favorite experience that you've had, whether it be celebrity or not celebrity, but work-wise?
The J-Lo iHeartRadio gig, and also the Miley Cyrus VMA gig. That was pretty awesome.
That was an iconic.
Yeah.
And the VMAs?
It was the VMAs. I was like, dancers like train their whole lives to be able to step on a stage like that. And for us, I have no dance training and didn't commit decades of my life to be able to be a performer, like that kind of performer on stage. So to just take up space on a VMA stage like that, it was like pretty incredible.
It's so cool. Like when you hear about experiences and it's like, like you were on a VMA stage, that's pretty freaking iconic. Dancing for J-Lo is pretty freaking iconic.
Yeah, when she got her Icon Award. Yes. It's like, shit.
Do you ever pinch yourself?
You know what? Sometimes I'll just be walking around, or I'll be sitting with myself, or I'll be somewhere and I might be with a friend or might be by myself. And I'm like, I'll stop and I'm like, I'll either to myself or my friend, I'm like, we have lived some freaking like crazy lives. Like I've lived a couple of lifetimes actually. Like I tell people all the time, I'm not like overly like excited person, but like the things I've done are pretty exciting.
Because that's how I feel a lot of times. Like my boyfriend will have to stop me and he'll be like, you have to realize what you've done. You have to realize, oh, this is pretty freaking cool. Live in this moment because you're not going to get the moment again. And then you're going to look back on it and be like, oh, I should have actually relished in it.
Yeah, it's like when material things come and go, what's left is our memories and how the experiences made us feel. And so that's another, again, loops back to the confidence question of knowing everything that was brought to you and you were able to live up to and in the moment and come out on the other end and better for it. That's like something to really pat yourself on the back for.
Mm-hmm. What would you say is the biggest misconception of Mariah Balenciaga?
I don't know, because I really don't know what people think about me.
Because you don't read the comments?
I don't. Maybe, you know what? I get all the time, you're so much nicer than I expected you to be.
Do you feel like that has to do with a quietness or a shyness that was perceived on television?
Well, I'm not a sensational. I'm not one that has sensationalized myself or my persona.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not this unrealistic character that I have to keep up with.
Yeah,
I'm just me, and in a relaxed state of like peace and chill and contentment. And so a lot of people don't know how to take that.
Mm.
And so I don't speak unnecessarily because it's like I just don't need attention. So it's like, you know, so I'm not really a flamboyant person when it comes to being around people or feeling the need to be around people. Mm-hmm. But when people come up and speak, it's nice. It's like, hello, I love meeting new people, actually. But I just make sure that my presence is one that people know not to cross boundaries or play with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of the shit that people say online or some of the shit that people have actually said to girls' faces, I wish they would. I'm like, some of these people get the nerve and where the girls allow some of these people to talk to them. I'm like, I cut that shit off real quick.
And that's why she doesn't read the comments.
Yeah.
What do you have coming down the pipeline? What's next for Mariah?
Ooh. I'm still trying to figure out that stuff. You know, just more working. Hopefully continue to just keep getting paid, doing what I love to do, and traveling more and getting to meet new people. I tell my friends and folks all the time to ask me the same question, what's next? I'm like, just more icing on the cake. Mm-hmm. It's like at this point of life, I have like 7 layers of icing, the whole cake. And I'm just like, what else can you ask for?
Yeah.
Except for to be able to keep doing it.
And to be able to eat the cake.
And you know what? I'm not even going there. Anybody who knows me know I love eating cakes. Exposed. Surprise.
Well, as we're closing all of this out, I do need to ask you, as this show is called Exposed, mm-hmm. I ask every guest who comes through to expose something that happened during their time of RuPaul's Drag Race that the world did not see. So season 3 or AllStars 5, is there something that you wish would have been shown?
That I wish would have been shown? You know, I wish more of the interaction that me and Mayhem had mm-hmm. would have been shown on season 5 of AllStars. Because we had a fucking good time. We were cutting up. We were in our own little reality show. And I just wish more of that would have aired because it was fun. It was like genuine and authentic, and we had a really good time with each other. Along me and Alexis as well. It was a good time.
Because you knew Mayhem before, right? Did you know?
I knew Mayhem from coming out here to perform.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a chance to work with her. Actually, I met her after one of the tapings of Drag U 3. And that was my first time meeting Mayhem. And I was like an hour and a half late to the gig in VIP. And then all I had to do, I was just like, she was like, oh, you here? You shut up? And they were like, her and the owner, they were like, oh, what happened? I was like, traffic. And, you know, they kind of like gave a slight little eye roll, like, sure, girl. Uh-huh. And then I was like, I had mentioned one of my other girlfriends' names. And then they said, oh, that's all you had to say. Never mind, we already know the setup. Got it. So that was fun, yeah.
The last question for you is, what is words of wisdom or advice that you have for our LGBTQIA plus community?
With mainstreaming, it's a double-edged sword. In the past decade, and we've seen so many of our mega clubs or just even regular size clubs and safe spaces close down because our community no longer feels the need for our community. And it's important to make sure you go to community-owned businesses, spend your dollars, so that way when politicians and developers try to push them out of their business, they have the funds and the resources to fight back. So make sure you spend your money in the community that supports you.
And I will say too, you mentioned community-owned businesses. I think also going and supporting your, if you do have, which is very rare now these days, a lesbian bar, go visit your local lesbian bars because those have shut down like crazy. And I believe there's only like 6 or 7 left in the US, which I think is crazy.
It's nuts. So go support our lesbian sisters as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm Joseph Shepard.
And I'm Mariah Balenciaga.
And thank you so much for watching Exposed. Until next time, Mariah, where can they find you on the socials?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mug for Days. That's MUG 4 DAYZ. And then on Facebook, it's Mariah, Paris in parentheses, Balenciaga.
Until next time, I'm Joseph Shepard. As I already said, that's Mariah Paris Balenciaga, or Mariah Paris, Mariah Balenciaga. See how confusing that is to say. She was so right. And until next time, we'll see you. Bye, guys.